So good afternoon. How's everybody doing?
Good.
Good. Good Monday to everybody. Today is our regular board meeting of the trustees of Harlandale ISD. It is Monday, November 16th. We are beginning the meeting at 6:16, a minute after, unfortunately. My apologies. My name is Norma Cavazos, and I am the board president, and I welcome each and every one of you this evening joining us. We are going to call the meeting to order, and I'm going to do roll call as to which board members are present this evening with us. Ms. Limon?
Yeah.
Hi, Ms. Limon. Good afternoon.
Hi, sweetie.
Mr. Mancha?
Present.
Hi, Mr. Mancha. I don't see you, but I hear you. Oh, I see you right there. Yes. Hi, Mr.
Right
Mancha.
here. All right.
Ms. Ortiz? Oh, there she is. She's waving. She's waving. Hi, Ms. Ortiz. Mr. Mendoza?
Here.
Hi, Mr. Mendoza. How are you?
Fine.
Good to hear you, sir. And I'm present. We do have a quorum tonight, this evening. Mr. Moreno and Ms. Carrillo are unable to join us this evening, and they do send their apologies. Agenda item 1C, Mr. Soto, good evening, good afternoon. Would you please let us know which cabinet and staff members are here present with us tonight, please?
Yes, ma'am. Today we have Assistant Superintendent for Business, Mr. Richard Hernandez.
Here.
Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum and Instruction, Melissa Casey.
Here.
Executive Director of Human Resources, Dr. Salinas.
Here.
Executive Director of Operations, Mr. Kyle Blickney.
Here.
Our Public Information Officer, Mariana Veraza.
Here.
Thank you very much for joining us. And I do want to make mention that Dr. Judith Castleberry is here with us this evening, back from out of town. I assume everything went well.
Yes. Beautiful snowfall, but good to be home.
Oh, good. How fortunate of you. Well, thank you for joining us, Dr. Castleberry. We're going to go ahead and move on to agenda item number 2. And that is public hearing pursuant to Texas Local Government Code Section 180.007 regarding a one-time stipend for all full-time employees for the 2020-2021 school year. The next item, like I said on the agenda, is for public hearing. It requires a public hearing to be held if any payment is made to an employee or former employee that exceeds the contract amount owed to an employee or former employee. As such, this item has been properly posted and a sign-in sheet has been provided for the public to speak if they so desire. There is an agenda item tonight that the board will consider a one-time compensation stipend adjustment for all of our full-time employees. Mr. Soto?
Yes, Ms. Madam Chair. The public purpose or the reason to allow for additional compensation for full-time employees to boost the morale of our employees and as an incentive to retain district employees. The proposed payment and terms are as follows. Full-time employees will be awarded a one-time stipend in the amount of $1,000. The board previously approved and budgeted a stipend in the amount of $600 to be paid in 2 installments, December 2020 and May 2021. We are considering adding $400 for a total of $1,000 for the 2020-2021 school year as follows. This is to be paid only to a full-time employee who have started employment with the district on or before November 8th, 2020, and to change the payment period of the one-time retention incentive stipend to be awarded all in December 2020. The estimated cost for the additional $400 retention stipend is $840,000. The source of the proposed payment will be from the district's general funds and special revenue funds. Mr. Hernandez will provide a brief presentation on this initiative. Mr. Hernandez?
Thank you, Mr. Soto.
Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Soto, thank you. Let me go ahead and share my screen. As Mr. Soto said and went over the details of the stipend, what I want to present is the impact that it'll have on the financial condition of the school district. As you see with this slide, you all see the approved budget 2020-21 summary slide. Yes.
Yes.
Yes, okay, good. If we go to the middle of the slide where it says other fund balance items, currently what that's reporting is that we have $36.3 million in our fund balance. After providing for this stipend, we expect to have an unrestricted fund balance of 3.4, but basically when you combine the two, we have resources of $39.7 million available for this initiative and this reward for our employees as a retention stipend that's being discussed this evening. So basically, that's what I wanted to report, Madam Chair. So if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer those.
Does anybody have any questions, my fellow colleagues? Ms. Ortiz, yes, you're muted though.
Sorry, I'm trying.
That's okay.
So he flashed up on the screen. I'm sorry, Mr. Hernandez, but you flashed up on the screen 3 different slides. I only saw one.
Okay. And go ahead, ma'am. I'm sorry.
No. So I had some questions. When you say unrestricted, that has nothing to do with, have we gotten any monies from TEA this year based on student? Is one going to affect the other? Is it what I'm afraid of, and what I've been reading in the last few days is that TEA has only extended the exemption for student reimbursement to the end of this year. And that TEA has assured that they will not extend that for the rest of the other semester.
And that's what we're hearing as well. What it's called a hold harmless.
Yes.
So this first semester, they're granting the ADA that we earned last year. And so in looking at that and then taking into consideration the budget that was approved and the amount of this retention stipend, we feel that we still have the resources available to cover that.
Okay, so if TEA, because what I'm reading, like Northeast, I know we're not as big as them, but some of these school districts in the San Antonio Express News were quoted as seeing 8% of high school students were failing. They don't expect that TEA is going to extend the hold harmless, and that they could lose, millions and millions of dollars. So what I'm afraid of is, will we, if we were to lose $11 million, would we be able to operate?
Sure, and what I can show you is what I previously had up on the screen. And if you'll see in the middle, what the board has done is actually put aside 2.5 months worth of operations, which is 25 million. So when you have an amount, as you say, of 11 million, certainly that's enough to cover. But as you also said, our district is not as big as Northeast. We wouldn't expect that sizable amount. But then again, even below, in setting aside the 2.5 months of operations, we have also set aside $11.3 million for facility assessments that can always be redirected. So when you add the two, you're really, what we're really looking at is $36.3 million in available monies. And again, those resources are available to the district, and those were considered when we were discussing the stipend.
Okay, can I see the other slide, please?
Sure.
There were 3 slides. One was a title slide, and then I didn't get to see the other one. That's one.
No, let me get there. This was a second slide.
Okay.
Their first slide was just the cover sheet. But basically, this is the information that Mr. Sota had just read. Initially, when the board approved the original budget for this budget year, this school year, the board approved a stipend to be paid in a total amount of $600. That stipend was going to be paid $300 in December and $300 in May. And so what this proposal is to consolidate those two amounts and also add an additional $400, which would then be to the consolidated stipend of $600, which is a total of $1,000. And so the other change on that was to provide the $1,000 in this December pay period, and not provide the other amount of $300 because it's being consolidated in this month.
Okay. Can I ask, is there anywhere on there, and I don't mean to be ugly, but how many full-time employees are not going to get this? So they had to be, they're going to get this 1,000 before, if they were employed before November the 8th. And so if we retain, right now, it's only $1,000 for those employees that started from the beginning to the December paycheck. And then if they were employed after 11/8 through the end of the school year, is there a stipend for them?
No, ma'am. At this point, what the proposal is that the stipend that would have been paid in December and May, the May stipend is basically being consolidated into this stipend, which is $600, and adding the $400. So what would have to happen is if the rules or the changes occurred with TEA and they granted a second hold harmless for the second semester, that may be something that's considered. But at this point, to answer your question, no, there's not another stipend being planned in May, because that's being accelerated and being provided this month.
Okay. And so this is, and we're doing a proclamation? Is that what we're doing for this?
It's called a resolution, ma'am.
A resolution?
Yes, ma'am. That provides the detail of basically what we're covering right now.
And so we didn't do a resolution before?
On the original stipend, no, because it was part of the budget process, and it was made part of the total amount that the board approved.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
I have no other questions, Madam President.
Thank you, Mr. Ortiz. Anybody else? Okay. We do have some speakers that have signed up this evening to speak on this particular item. Each speaker who has signed up to speak at this hearing will be allowed 2 minutes to make your comments. I will go ahead and call each one of you individually, and then if you will allow me just a few minutes to, I can start my little timer, I would appreciate that. Ms. Maricruz Martinez, is she available this evening?
Yes, I'm here.
Hi, Ms. Martinez, good evening. Thank you for joining us and
Hello,
for
good evening.
speak. Give me just a couple of seconds while I get this timer going, and then you are free to speak. I'll let you know. Give me 1 second.
And it changed to 2 minutes, you said, from
Yes,
3?
ma'am. Yes, yes. Because this is on the public.
It's frozen.
For you, Ms. Martinez.
Hello?
Go ahead.
Cavazos. You're frozen. You're
Hello?
froze. Ms. Cavazos
We
froze.
can hear you, Ms. Maricruz, but
Yeah, we could hear her.
I believe
Yes.
our president
Okay.
is frozen.
I'm like, oh, is it me? Is it my phone?
No, it's
No,
her.
you're fine. 1
I
second.
don't want to miss my cue. I only have 2 minutes.
Okay, let me see.
There you go. No, you froze.
Norma's frozen. Madam President, can't hear you.
Let me see.
There you go.
Am I
Move
still
a bit.
frozen? No?
No, move a bit.
Okay. Thank you so much, Ms. Martinez. I stopped it. Don't worry about it. I'm not going to cut you short.
Hey, thank you.
Okay. Okay, so ready to begin, Ms. Martinez?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Go ahead, ma'am.
Okay, good evening, Board of Trustees, Superintendent Soto, Dr. Castleberry, faculty, staff, and community. My name is Maricruz Martinez, and I am an employee of our great district. 2020, well, to say it has been stressful and different would be a huge understatement. The thing is, we have some extremely resilient and beyond creative educators, administration, and leadership. And of course, our amazing students. We're getting through it all, stronger together, closer than ever. Even though we're all doing everything we are able to in order to reach every student in our classes and community, we cannot forget what the beginning of this pandemic brought with it. And for some carries on even now. It affected many families' financial stability. Many family members lost jobs and are still trying to recover. As for me and my family, when everything hit, my son had just left his job and was looking for another. Luckily, he is now working. My daughter lost her after-school district job that was her college spending and project money. You know who stepped in to take up all the in-between job expenses and keep my children from financially drowning? Me. But what are mothers for, right? Like my family, many have been affected. We must not forget that and the COVID fear of infection has us doing many things to stay safe, like not allowing students to bring anything from home, not even the minimal supplies we used to ask for and receive. Although our district and campuses do give us supplies, many times we still have to buy things for detailed lessons or those special hands-on projects or fun activities we plan to do with our students, and those come out of our pockets. Everyone knows most all educators have been spending out of our pockets for years. No one can deny this happens. But to hear that you are wanting to increase the current approved compensation is a true blessing. I am so grateful to see that on tonight's agenda, number 7 individual items, letter A, the board is considering increasing our previously approved stipend from $600 to $1,000. I have high hopes that this will pass board approval. I'm not sure who all had a say in bringing up the idea for this change, but thank you, thank you, thank you. Now we wait to hear good news.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you. Next individual that signed up is Susan Salinas. Ms. Salinas?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, give me 1 second while I start the timer. And there you go, ma'am. Go ahead.
Good evening. I'm Susan Salinas, TSA staff, speaking tonight regarding the employee stipend. It was a nice surprise when the agenda item came out. TSA would like to thank the administration for recognizing the exceptional work of employees during this pandemic. Teachers have taken on the task of teaching virtually and face-to-face. If you have a loved one who is a teacher, you know the extra work that goes into teaching in 2 different formats. Teachers would prefer to teach face-to-face, but appreciate the district following the Metro Health guidelines to keep our students and employees safe. The paraprofessional staff who are the backbone of campus have been doing so much to support our teachers. A huge thank you goes to our custodian staff who are working beyond expectations to keep the schools disinfected. The employees at most are doing everything to ensure schools have the supplies needed to keep schools cleaned and ventilated. The cafeteria workers have done so much to make sure our students don't go hungry. Police officers patrol our schools and deal with the community to keep everyone safe. The front office staff are in direct line with the public and do an excellent job keeping it all together. The administration team at the campus level are putting in the time to ensure their campus runs smoothly, communication is clear, and supporting teachers. The central administration has been doing their best to respond to calls about COVID and all other questions that come their way. The $1,000 stipend at Christmas will be a huge moral boost for employees. We're all fatigued dealing with COVID-19, and this sends a message to employees that they are valued. We hope that the school board will approve the stipend, which will be another way to ensure we retain the best employees. The district posted on their website a guide on how to stay safe during the holidays. This is a great reminder to families that it's better to have Zoom and FaceTime to get-togethers instead of huge family in-person gatherings. Scientists are worried that the holidays will be super spreads with
15
families.
seconds.
We encourage families to make plans to change it up this year. It's better to be extra safe so that we can get together next year. Thank you very much. I wish you all a happy holiday and to be safe.
Thank you, Ms. Salinas. Thank you very much. Next, we have Ms. Julie Gimbel. Ms. Gimbel? Are you there, Ms.
Hello?
Gimbel? Hi, Ms. Gimbel. Can you hear us?
Yes, sorry.
That's
Just
okay.
want making sure that you can hear me.
Yes, yes, we can. Give me 1 second. I'm going to start the timer, okay? 2 minutes. And
All right.
you are ready, Ms. Gimbel.
Okay. Let me see. Good evening, board members, President Ms. Cavazos, Superintendent Mr. Soto, and Cabinet. I'm Julie Gimbel, HEA TSTA President, and speaking on item 7A of today's board agenda. I will keep it short and sweet, I hope. It gives us great joy to see item 7A on the agenda of increasing the retention stipend to $1,000 and paying it all out in December, especially during this time. This shows how much you value our contributions to our district and our students. We are in a time where all our employees are working harder than ever and working beyond their job descriptions because of this COVID year. Teachers have had provide lessons, face-to-face learning, and also go online for virtual learners. And on top of that, they provide lessons for asynchronous times. More than ever, they are constantly contacting parents to get online or come to school. Assistants have been very flexible in covering classes and duties because of unfilled positions or working with students to help fill gaps. We are also in a time that some of our employees' significant others or family members have also been furloughed. We've had to pick up some of their expenses for their loved ones. Our entire district has been very instrumental in helping one another and helping our schools, students, and employees stay safe. I'd like to give a big shout out to the most department, in making sure we have PPE for our staff and students and getting it to us in a timely manner. Also to cabinet members and our superintendent in keeping the 6 feet social distancing in the classrooms, knowing that not all districts are doing this. This shows faith and trust that you also care for our employees. COVID is a deadly virus that one not to be reckoned with. Many of us have lost loved ones, including our students.
10 seconds.
We need a huge thank you also to HR and helping keep our employees safe before they return to campus. A simple increase in our retention stipend helps boost morale and encourages hard work and shows how much you value our employees. I hope all of you vote.
Thank you very much, Ms. Gimbel. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you to everybody that spoke this evening on this agenda item. We appreciate hearing from you, your concerns or not. We appreciate it. Thank you so much. Moving on to the next agenda item, it's agenda item 3. It's public comment. We do have community members that have signed up for this as well. Kristian Ramirez, do we have Kristian Ramirez?
Yes, I'm here.
Hi, good evening. Let me give me 1 second. We're doing 3 minutes for public comment, okay? And I will let you know if you when you get closer to your time. So we will begin right now, Ms. Ramirez.
Okay, thank you. I'm here to speak about the recent announcement about the calendar change for Martin Luther King Day. Good evening, my name is Kristian Ramirez. I'm a teacher and a union member in this district. I'm here today to address the district decision to eliminate Martin Luther King Day as a holiday. I appreciate the effort put forth by the district in sending out a staff survey to give teachers a voice in this decision process. The survey results show that 39.3% of staff members chose MLK Day, 27.5% chose Battle of Flowers, 27.2% chose Memorial Day, and 6% chose Good Friday. The district read these results as a majority of staff members chose MLK Day as the holiday to eliminate. However, another way to read the data is that about 61% of staff members who took the survey would rather have another holiday be chosen than lose out on the opportunity to honor and celebrate Martin Luther King Jr. 61% of our staff chose not to eliminate Martin Luther King Day. I would also like to point out that no other district has made the decision to take away Martin Luther King Day from their students and employees. If the district decides to uphold this decision, I believe we are sending a clear negative message to our Black students, teachers, and staff. As a Hispanic woman working in the Harlandale district, I recognize my privilege as part of the majority. Today, I'm asking you to do the same and hear the voices of the minorities in our community. Together, we can start to address the hurt and uncertainty this decision has caused to our Black community by reinstating Martin Luther King Day as a holiday. I would like to end this by saying not only do Black lives matter in the United States and the world, they also matter in this district, and our actions should reflect that. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Ms. Ramirez. Now we have Miss Natalie Clifford. Miss Clifford.
Hello, good evening.
Miss Clifford, give me 1 second while I start your timer, okay?
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, Miss Clifford, go ahead, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Good evening, Superintendent Soto, Board Chair Ms. Cavazos, board members, and HISD staff and community. I'm speaking tonight on agenda item number 4, announcements as a concerned educator, employee, union member, and human being. At last month's board meeting, I shared my concern with the district's decision to eliminate Martin Luther King Jr. Day in January 2021 as a student and staff holiday. Although I appreciate the district's responsiveness in sending a staff survey shortly after the last board meeting, I remain troubled about the decision to eliminate this holiday. We have the largest Martin Luther King Jr. Day celebration in the nation here in San Antonio. Although the events will be virtual, it's a federal holiday recognizing one of the most influential and courageous people to shape modern American history, yet who was deeply unpopular during his life for speaking the truth about injustice. The elimination of the holiday has conveyed an implicit message, whether intentionally or not, that we do not value our African American employees, students, and families, nor those who are multiracial or Afro-Latino. Additionally, it conveys a lack of sensitivity regarding current events and the impact of that on African Americans. In a district which rightfully prides itself on addressing barriers to educational opportunities within the Latino community and is proactive in providing support for immigrant families, which I applaud, we cannot also forget the importance of quality with our African American students and staff. We are the only school district in San Antonio to make the decision to eliminate this holiday, and it's bringing negative attention to our district across the city. As someone invested in the pursuit of racial justice and a union member where we recognize an injury to one is an injury to all, I'm disappointed our district is standing out for this reason rather than being inclusive. Our district describes itself as a family working together, yet in this instance, the district is sending a clear message, whether intentional or not, regarding who matters more or less within that family. Furthermore, I took the time to count through our minutes for the entire school year's calendar. Texas Education Agency's House Bill 2610, which became effective during the 2015-2016 school year, mandates a minimum of 75,600 minutes of instructional time per school year. Even with adjustments to our schedule for COVID-19 and the closure of our campuses on Election Day a few weeks ago, we currently will offer 76,070 instructional minutes this year. If we keep MLK Jr. Day as a holiday, subtracting a full day's minutes from 76,070, we are still slightly above the state minimum of 75,600. Basically, there's no need to eliminate this holiday because we will still meet the state's minimum minutes requirement. In conclusion, Dr. King fought for a better world for all, with a strong focus on economic justice and the rights of working people towards the end of his life. The holiday is an opportunity to reflect on his profound legacy and ongoing relevance in the present day, while affirming the important contributions of our African American staff and students. If we truly want to inspire our students to be the change, we should honor those who represent this democratic ideal. In the words of MLK Jr., may he rest in power, education without morals is like a ship without a compass, merely wandering nowhere. Rather than following this type of path, as educators, we encourage our own path and build a world that affirms the humanity of all. Our Black educators matter, and so do our Black students, and Black history matters. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I couldn't stop the ringing. Okay, so now we have Mr. Jose Llamas. Mr. Llamas. Is Mr. Llamas here this evening?
He is unmuted, ma'am. I just don't think we can hear him.
Let me see. Mr. Llamas, we can't hear you. You think your volume is maybe might be a little too low, Mr. Llamas? You want to mute and then unmute again, sir? Just there. I see you. Good evening. Can you hear me?
I can't hear her.
Yeah, I can't hear you. I know that you're not muted because I don't see that you are. No, still not. No volume at our end. You want me to come back to you, Mr. Llamas? Yes? Thumbs up if you want me to come back to you in a little bit. Okay. Okay, thank you. Okay, we'll come back to him. Lance Escobedo?
Hello.
Hi, Mr. Escobedo. Give me 1 second. Let me get my little timer, okay?
Yes.
Okay, sir, go ahead.
Hello. Good evening, Board Chair, Ms. Cavazos, Superintendent Soto, and members of the board. I'm Lance Escobedo, a biology teacher at Harlandale High School, and I'm speaking today to support honoring Martin Luther King Day by keeping this day as a holiday for our community. MLK Day was established to celebrate the legacy of Dr. King as a leader in the civil rights movement. The positive impact he made by raising awareness on racial inequalities and advocating for civil rights legislation led to all communities, spread to all communities of color, not just his own. His influence is especially meaningful to our community at Harlandale, which is 97% Hispanic. We're living in times of heightened racial tension and stark economic and health inequalities. We need to look back to the civil rights movement and learn from MLK's leadership and peaceful activism. We can listen to his speeches to remember the dream he had of an America where all are equal. We can teach our students that they too have the power to stand up to injustices and that their rights should be protected regardless of skin color, race, and economics. If we do not properly honor Martin Luther King Day this year, what message does that send to our community, to our students? It undermines the significance of the civil rights movement in our history by telling students this holiday is up for cancellation. If we let MLK Day be, are we sending the message that our fight for civil rights and Dr. King's work is unimportant? To protect MLK's legacy and the message of equality and opportunity for all, we must show our community that we are dedicated to honoring it. I understand that there was a staff survey that had gone out to see what day would replace the Election Day holiday. But since the initial communication to staff was that MLK Day would be the makeup day, the results of the survey may be skewed. Staff may have felt inclined to choose the district's preference as it had clearly been communicated to them before. I'd ask you, the board, to consider the implications of the decision to cancel the MLK holiday. How will this decision affect classroom culture? As a teacher, we strive to cultivate a classroom culture of equality, compassion, and acceptance for all, regardless of our differences. But how can we do this if we're sending mixed messages about the significance of a historical equal rights movement? Let's not let significance of civil rights and equality up for debate. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Okay. Mr. Llamas, you think you're available? I know you're not on video anymore, but I didn't know if you wanted me to come back to you again. I'll come back to you, Mr. Llamas. I won't forget you, I promise. Gabriela Lopez?
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, Ms. Lopez, good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you for signing up to speak. Give me 1 second while I get this timer.
Of course, thank you.
Okay, ma'am, thank you. You're ready.
Alrighty. My name is Gabriela Lopez. I am a community member, proud educator in the district, and union member. I'd like to speak in regards to the recent announcement to no longer observe Martin Luther King Jr. Day as a district holiday. At first glance, and I'm sure to many, the decision may appear as one of logistics. However, it doesn't take long to quickly realize the impact and messages this decision may have on our teachers, students, and community, especially our African-American students, teachers, and community members. The truth is that even in 2020, African-Americans are continually having to fight for their own humanity. Justice is still something that is seen as a debatable topic, and simple rights such as safety are still not a guarantee. Therefore, a holiday such as MLK Day should not be one that is so easily taken away. This is not only a day where beautiful things happen in the city of San Antonio, a day where our true colors of solidarity and hope for better outshine our still very segregated city, but it is a holiday that was fought for more than 15 years. It is a holiday that received pushback from southern states, such as Texas. Its existence is a marker on the path to civil rights in itself. I can confidently say that there is no other holiday representative of progress, unity, and the American experience, such as MLK Day. Virtual events or not, it should be a day to honor our African American citizens who, much like Martin Luther King Jr., often push us forward to do and be better. It is a day that is full of tradition and reflection, even aside from our infamous march. Our side of town knows much about history and honoring traditions. I'm sure we can empathize with the impact of a holiday that is celebrated all across the nation, especially when we realize that it is so much more than a holiday. Since I started school in this district as a second grader at Adams Elementary many, many years ago, it has been instilled in me that Harlandale is a family. When done right, families are loving and inclusive to every member. Families are a safe space. Families also work hard to correct miscommunication and mistakes. Board members, you have family members telling you this decision has made them feel unseen, unheard, and even underrepresented. As our leaders, you have the power to write this, to send the right message, not only to our community, but to the rest of the city who is watching. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Ms. Lopez. Jessica Martinez, Ms. Martinez.
Yes, ma'am.
Give me 1 second, Ms. Martinez. Let me get my little timer.
No problem.
I'm giving Mr. Jose Llamas a few more seconds. Okay, ma'am, whenever you're ready.
Thank you. Hello, Superintendent Soto, members of the board, and Harlandale community. My name is Jessica Martinez, and I have been a teacher at McCollum High School for 5 years. I'm a parent of 2 Harlandale students, and I'm also a member of HEA. I would like to address the decision not to observe Martin Luther King Day appropriately this year. I don't believe the survey that staff were sent was fair, considering that our district employs and serves a very small percent of African American staff and students, who arguably should be provided with a better representation in such surveys. While all of us are San Antonians and Fiesta is an enjoyable cultural festival, and I'm sure many of us missed attending this year, it is also the type of event that would strictly go against the advice recently released by the Senate office requesting that staff and students continue to exercise caution when outside of school. On the other hand, Martin Luther King Day events will all be virtual, and by not allowing staff and students to attend one of the biggest MLK events in the nation, we as a community also sent a very loud and clear message with the results of the survey to our Black friends, colleagues, and students that we do not value their need to observe this day as they wish outside of school. Thank you for listening, and please reconsider your decision.
Thank you, Ms. Martinez. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you.
Juani Torres, Ms. Juani Torres.
Sorry, I can't.
I can hear you.
Okay.
Can you hear us, Torres?
Yes, I can hear you fine. Sorry,
okay.
Give me a
No worries, as long as you can hear us and we can hear you. Let me get my timer going. Give me 1 second, please, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay, you have 3 minutes, ma'am. Go ahead.
Hi, you all. Buenas tardes, buenas noches, good evening. My name is Juani Torres. I am a proud Harlandale ISD graduate. I graduated in the class of 2009 from McCollum High School, and I also had the privilege of being the valedictorian. And I will share that, you know, tonight's meeting, the reason I am here is because I'm deeply disappointed that we have decided to not honor MLK Day in the way that it has been and will continue to nationally by observing that day as a holiday. I really do commend you all. You know, I majored in political science from Stanford University after I graduated from Harlandale, and I've been working in electoral politics and civic engagement since I was 17. Actually, when I was a senior at McCollum, I had the opportunity to go to Barack Obama's inauguration in Washington, D.C. And it was particularly special because I was able to be there and watch and witness the first Black president get inaugurated. And it was the same weekend, of course, as every inauguration is, as MLK Day. And it was particularly amazing and really special for me as a 17-year-old, someone that couldn't even vote when he got elected, to be there representing my high school, but to be there at such a historic moment. It hurts me that today, you know, we are discussing the fact that Harlandale has decided not to observe that holiday because of Election Day. I don't believe that this is right. I believe that they are both important times and important days for us to acknowledge and to allow our families and our students to learn from our history and to move forward together. Now, I understand that a lot of the hard decisions that Harlandale and other school districts have to make are due to the TEA. However, I don't think that we need to cancel MLK Day and potentially have the impact of hurting Black and Brown families in San Antonio due to that expectation. There are ways, and the minutes have been calculated by some of the teachers, where we can still acknowledge MLK Day and observe it as a holiday and still be within TA standards. With that in mind, I think about the impact that this has had. You know, we had the Express News, we had the NAACP, we have so many folks looking at Harlandale, a gem in the South Side, and unfortunately discussing how our decision has hurt already so much of our legacy and our history. I hope that today, after you've heard from so many teachers and from alumni like myself, who have decided to take this time to be with you all, that we can change and correct that decision so that we can honor such an important civil rights leader at a time where we need to restructure and move forward as a nation and honor the lives of Black family members, Black students, and our civil rights. Thank you so much, and I hope we can move forward and correct this together.
Thank you, Ms. Torres. Thank you. I appreciate you signing on tonight. Thank you very much. Mr. Llamas, are you available now, Mr. Jose Llamas?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes,
perfect.
ma'am. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yes, sir. We can hear you. You can hear us fine as well?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay. Give me 1 second. Let me get my timer going, sir. Give me 1 second, please.
Sure, no problem.
You have 3 minutes. Go ahead.
Hello, my name is Mr. Llamas. Good evening, everybody. I work at McCollum High School. I've been a teacher for 18 years. I work both at Terra Wells and in McCollum. I'm a member of HEA TSTA. And just for the record, I wanted to put down that I am the 2020 Teacher of the Year. So since that is being put down on the record. So I just wanted to mention that. Thank you. Thank you. I'm here to discuss today the elimination of Dr. King's holiday from the school calendar. First of all, I want to say that no one has mentioned more than Dr. King in social studies. He's the only historical figure to be studied from kindergarten all the way up through high school in the state of Texas. So I want you to ask yourselves, why does the state of Texas want me to spend so much time teaching about him? Not because he's insignificant, but because Dr. King is taught again and again to remind our students about his importance. The same way we have a national holiday to remind people across the country of his importance. Harlandale's vision statement is inspiring our students to be the change. And who better to represent that philosophy than Dr. King? But by not celebrating Dr. King's birthday, we are sending a different negative message to students in the community that he is insignificant and that it devalues what Dr. King worked for. As chosen leaders of this community, it's up to you to take the responsibility to make decisions in the best interest of students. And making the decision to remove Dr. King's holiday is not in the best interest of students. And if it stays this way, I believe it will have a negative effect on our students and the community's perception of Dr. King. I wanted to finish with this. Many years ago, I went to the district office for professional development, and I was in a room that had the pictures of many superintendents going back many decades. And I noticed that many of them did not have brown faces. I kind of noticed that, and I figured that maybe the school board back then also was very similar. 60 to 70 years ago, none of you would have had the opportunity to be in positions that you are today. But thanks to Dr. King's efforts, you have had the opportunity to serve in these positions. We are all the products of Dr. King's work. We don't celebrate Dr. King because he was a Black man fighting for Black people. We celebrate him because he fought so everyone could have these opportunities. When we honor him, we honor all of the work and sacrifice that he made to help us. Please let us not forget and not take for granted what Dr. King worked for and died for. And please reconsider and let us have our day to honor and remember this great man. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you for signing up tonight and letting us hear you. The last community member is Josie Scales. Ms. Scales, are you here with us this evening?
Oh, let me unmute. Hold on.
I can hear you. Actually, I can hear you.
I am
I
unmuted.
see you, but I can hear you.
Okay.
Give me 1 second, Ms. Scales. Let me get my timer going, please. Okay, ma'am, we're ready.
I just wanted to say tonight, I know that that Mariana from our director of communications is going to later on talk about our Hall of Fame, but I just wanted to say I worked with the communications department for the first time. These women are new to our district, and they have done such an excellent job with the Hall of Fame. They have just stepped right up and taken any information they can get. And let me tell you, they were left without a lot of information. And they stepped up and they did everything exactly right. And we are so proud of them. And I know y'all will be too. I just wanted to say that for their sake. They're wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Gales. Yes, we also encourage our community members not to just sign up when you've got something you don't agree with us about, but sign up when you agree with us. By all means, we'll take both. We'll take both. So thank you so much. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Next agenda item, it is agenda item number 5, and it's information and reports. 5A is Lone Star Governance Student Outcome Data. Now, I will say,
Madam Chair.
yes, sir.
Announcements first.
No. Oh,
yes.
sorry. Yes, that's right. I skipped it. I was so eager. I'm nervous because it's my first time I'm going to do the LSG. So forgive me if I'm getting ahead of myself. So yes, number 4, announcements. Yes. Thank you so much for saving me. Thank you for watching my back. I appreciate that.
Yes,
Mr. Soto is who will do announcements this evening? Ms. Veraza?
Ms. Mariana Verazo, yes, ma'am.
Hi, Ms. Mariana Veraza. Good evening.
Hi. Good evening. Good evening. So the first announcement that we have, Dr. Salinas is actually going to give us a brief technology update.
Thank you so much. Just an update for everyone in the community and our school system, and of course our school board. Just so that you know, our technology department has been working very, very hard. As we've been receiving devices, they have to prep them and get them ready for distribution. So far we have distributed 731 iPads. We've distributed 3,759 Chromebooks. We've distributed 282 hotspots. And we're still waiting for the big order of Chromebooks, 8,500 and 2,049 hotspots. We're expecting them hopefully mid-December, latest January. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Salinas.
Excuse me.
Yes, ma'am. Who's Ms. Ortiz?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
I was wondering if we could get a copy of that information that Dr. Salinas was so kind to provide us right now.
Yes, ma'am. I can provide it for you in HH.
Thank you so much.
Any other questions or comments on agenda item 4?
So I have more announcements.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's okay.
Don't be shy. Don't be shy. Go ahead.
Okay, so the first one I have is regarding Frontier Bowl. And so it's going to be held at the Alamo Dome this year on December 4th at 7:30 p.m. The doors will open at 6 p.m. and the ticket sales will start Wednesday, November 18th, which is this Wednesday at the athletic office. The pre-sale tickets will be $10 each, and the tickets at the door are $12. Also, tickets will be sold, like I said, November 18th, 19th, 20th, 23rd, 24th, and the 30th from 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. And then December 1st and 2nd from 8:30 a.m. until 5:30 p.m. And parking will be $10 at the Alamo Dome. And all of this information is on our website. So you can find it there. If you just click on the banner that says Frontier Bowl, it will take you straight to this information. The next announcement that I have is actually great news. Our volleyball teams both made it to the playoffs this year. So yes. So the first game is McCollum High School versus Highlands. And that's on the 19th at 6 p.m., which is Thursday. That will be at the Alamo Convocation Center, and they're only doing online sales for this game. And then Harlandale High School versus Burbank, and that's on the 20th, Friday the 20th at 6 p.m. And that one will be at Harlandale High School, and the tickets will be sold at the door. The tickets will be $5 for adults and $3 for students. And we also have that information on our website.
Thank you.
The Hall of Fame ceremony, I want to announce officially the inductees for this year.
Drum roll down.
From McCollum High School, we have Larry Bishop, class of 1976. Robert Salas, class of 1979. From Harlandale High School, we have Magdalena Fresnillo Vasquez, and she's class of 1970, and Frank Trevino, class of 1974. And then for community service, we have Carlos Wolf III. So the Hall of Fame ceremony will be pre-recorded due to COVID, obviously, and it's going to be shown at 6:30 p.m. at the Alamo Dome prior to the Frontier Bowl game. Also, with the Hall of Fame ceremony, we're going to be pre-recording the homecoming. Both homecomings are going to happen at Frontier Bowl, but we're also pre-recording both ceremonies. So the ceremony starts at 6:30 sharp. So the first one will be the Hall of Fame, and then right after that one, you will be able to see the homecoming ceremonies. So we encourage everybody to get there as soon as the doors open so you don't miss out on these ceremonies. Then my next announcement, I'm actually going to share my screen real quick. 1 second. Let me know if you can see my screen.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so I'm going to announce the retirees for this month. It's Alejandra Sanchez. Can you see that slide?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So she's from Special Education Assistant from Schultz Elementary School, and she has been with the district for 21 years of service. So thank you to Alejandra Sanchez. And then we also have Linda Salinas, Special Education Assistant from Leal Middle School, and she has been with our district for 33 years of service. So we also thank her. And then I'm going to be showing you the Harlandale Care Center video that we made. For many of you that are not aware, we had the grand opening this past Thursday. And the Harlandale Care Center is a new center that we have for the community that has mental health services, counseling, family support services. So it's a great place, and we're very excited that it was finally open. And so I have a little video to show you about it.
This year, as you know, has brought on many challenges. But with those challenges have come many wonderful opportunities. And now more than ever, we need a place like the Harlandale Care Center.
Well, the Harlandale Care Center is a collaboration of all of our community partners coupled with our school age community program here at Harlandale ISD. We've always been very, very rich in having lots of community partners work with the district, but never have had a common place for them all to come together and meet. And so we were just over the top thrilled the past year when our superintendent, Mr. Soto, was kind enough to let us have this building to kind of reinvent some rooms and space here to bring all of our great partners together to really provide wonderful counseling and support services for our community.
I'm super excited for this care center to be here right within our district. It's going to give so much access to all of our students, K through 12th grade, and their families as well as our staff. And I think this is the perfect time. Given the circumstances that we're all in, we do need some extra mental health services, and I'm so happy that it's right here in our neighborhood.
It's for students, it's for parents, and it's for staff. And everything that we offer here is free of charge to all of our community here in Harlandale.
We have an abundance of partners here. We have Jewish Family Services, Rise Recovery, Communities in Schools, the Children's Bereavement Center. Also, we're partnering with UT Health Science Center for a TCHAT grant.
I know that this center will provide many with the help they need and will contribute to making Harlandale ISD a place of growth and a support system for the family that we are.
So that's for our Harlandale Care Center. And then I'm going to stop sharing. But my last announcement is about the golf tournament that we have this Thursday. Just a reminder, registration starts at 7 and then the game starts at 8. So anyways, thank you. And also thank you to Ms. Kells for the compliments. It's been easy to work with them and they've made it very helpful. They've been super helpful to us. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Veraza. Thank you very much.
Madam President?
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
Before you move on, I would I would be remiss, and I know I speak on behalf of all the rest of the board in thanking Mr. Jacklich and Nadine Wolf in doing such a fantastic job in putting the Harlandale Care Center together. I know it was a monumental task, years in the making, and thank goodness Mr. Soto was able to find a building for them, because especially in this time of COVID-19, there is a tremendous amount of need. We have so many people that are they're anxious, they're worried, they don't know how to deal with depression, they're feeling isolated, they're lonely, and it couldn't come at a better time. And so I wanted to thank Mr. Jacklich and Ms. Wolf for all of their hard work. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Ortiz. Thank you very much. Anybody else? I wanted to piggyback on what Ms. Ortiz said. This is just one more reason to know that Harlandale continues to move forward. We continue to move forward in all aspects of success, not just in books, but in all aspects of it. And having this resource available to us is so needed and so appreciated by me personally, because there is a need. There is a need, and now it is in our backyard that we can go and get the help, even if it's just to talk to someone else, just to talk to someone else. We all need that little, me time. And this is a perfect way to have that. If we all want to do it, it is available. But it's just one more thing that we're doing, one more thing we're moving forward. It's one more thing of many that are to come in this district. And I'm extremely proud of everybody who had an involvement in this. I will not take credit because it is not mine to take. It is just mine to say thank you, thank you, thank you from the bottom of my heart. I truly, truly appreciate the hard work, the idea, and the not letting things be put in the back burner. This is top priority for us. Harlandale has our well-being of the families, of the staff, of the students is top priority. And I applaud administration and everybody else that had a little grain of this idea in mind. And now look at the results. So thank you very much to everybody that was that had something to do with this. So I appreciate that. Now we're going to consent item number 5. And I will say, please forgive me, I'm a little nervous. This is the first time I do take on our Lone Star Governance student outcome data. So bear with me if I'm a little shaky as we go along.
Ms. Cavazos.
Yes, sir.
At this time, it's going to be Melissa's cases.
Okay.
We can go over some CCMR, and your item will be 7B.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. You make me feel so much better, Mr. Soto. I'm sweating it over here. I'm sweating it over here.
We're here to guide you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Madam President and school board members, Mr. Soto, we actually have Mr. Littlefield. He is our program director. He oversees CCMR, and he will be presenting the data for you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Littlefield.
Good evening, everybody. I'm here tonight to talk about one of our first goals on the district improvement plan, which is goal number 1. The goal is to increase in the percentage of students receiving CCMR, College Career Military Readiness, credit in the accountability system from 63 to 65% by 2021. Now, there are 9 ways in which a student can earn CCMR status as defined by TEA. The first one is to achieve a sufficient score to meet TSI requirements in both reading and math using any combination of those tests. Another way is to achieve a score of 3 or above on an AP exam. A student can earn a level 1 or level 2 certificate in a CTE program. They can complete an on-ramps course. And on-ramps is a dual enrollment program offered through UT, and qualify for at least 3 hours through that program. A student can earn college credit in ELA or math, or if they earn 9 or more college hours through other courses. If a student earns an approved industry-based certification while in high school. And on that note there, previously, before the class of 2020, a CTE coursework aligned with an IBC would earn a half point. Beginning with the graduating class of 2020, that half point was removed, and that will come into play here in a second. If a student graduates with a completed IEP in workforce readiness for our special education students, or a special education student graduates under the advanced graduation plan, and then finally, enlist in the United States Armed Forces. Note in red, the U.S. Department of Defense must confirm that. So with the accountability system through COVID, most of our accountability did not come into play. However, the CCMR indicators were released. These are based off of the graduating class of 2019, and so they had a complete data set, and so they went ahead and released those. You will see that based on the calculation tables, our goal was to hit 65%, and we actually hit 71% using the class of 2019. However, the CTE coherent sequence coursework that earned half points will not be applied to the graduating class of 2020. So if the class of 2019 and the class of 2020 look similar to each other, that's 11 points that are going to be deducted coming up for the next year, which takes us down to 60%, which means that 65 is still within range, but there was an added little wrinkle. And the added little wrinkle came from the United States Armed Forces. TEA released a statement saying that due to discrepancies between what the state of Texas said went into the military and what the U.S. Department said went into the military, they're going to be asking the U.S. Department of Defense for the percentage of students that actually went into the military. So if the U.S. Department of Defense releases that information to the state, then armed forces would count. If they don't, then it wouldn't. And that's, for us, translates to about 8 percentage points. So if the U.S. Department of Defense doesn't release that information, that would actually knock us down to about 52%. So our hope is that the U.S. Department of Defense comes through for us and protects our 8 percentage points in the CCMR calculations. Along with CCMR, CCMR is really established as an accountability piece. House Bill 3 requires TEA to award a CCMR outcomes bonus funding on annual basis to districts based on the number of annual graduates who met the CCMR OB requirements in excess of a specified threshold. The district would receive $5,000 for each economically disadvantaged student once we get past 11% of our economically disadvantaged students meeting the CCMR OB. $3,000 for non-eco-dis, and then $2,000 for each spec ed student who, and in this case, it would be for any special ed student that meets the CCMR OB. The CCMR outcomes bonus funding actually has a higher standard than the initial list of 9 that you saw in the beginning. This particular chart created by Lead Forward kind of gives a visual representation of what must be met. In this case, in order to receive the additional outcomes-based funding, 2 criteria have to be met. In this case, Part A, they have to meet in the TSI, both in reading and in math, and they must either earn an associate's degree, which be our STEM early college high school students, or they must enroll in college in the fall immediately after high school graduation. So it is a 2-part system in order to receive credit towards the outcome-based funding. So it must meet TSI and enroll immediately after high school. Or a student must meet both sides of TSI and earn either a level 1 certificate or an industry-based certification. And then if they are to go into the military, ASVAB, and enlist in the US military as confirmed by the Department of Defense. So you can see that these pathways really revolve around a student getting acceptable scores on both sides of the TSI. This information really helps us kind of guide how high schools need to start looking at the TSI test instead of, in terms of for dual credit, but in terms of making sure that our students are graduating, having TSI acceptable scores on both sides, both reading and math. Now, one of our performance objectives within the first goal is to the percentage of students who passed one or more dual credit or dual credit enrollment classes will increase from 28 to 30% by 2021. Again, just to remind you, a student satisfies this condition if they either get 9 hours or 3 or more hours in ELA or math. So this report again comes from the 2020 CCMR report that was released in Teal. And in it, again, this uses the class of 2019. You'll see about halfway down that in fact we hit 35% of our graduating seniors of the class of 2019 earning a dual credit, the dual credit courses required. So we actually met this particular goal. This is a breakdown of the number of students earning dual credit by year, by campus, by grade level for the past 5 years. And the reason why I point this out is because the report that we got was based on the 2019 graduating class. As you can see in 2020, there is a dip in the number of overall students who earned dual credit. Part of that is due to COVID. When COVID hit, several of our students did, we'll say, slowly back out of some of their college classes. And as a result, we didn't have as many completing. What these numbers do allow us to take a look at is where are students attempting their credits, where aren't they attempting their credits, and where can we adjust? So if we look at the percentage of seniors earning dual credit throughout high school career by campus, I can use this as sort of a gauge in terms of how that particular domain will go when accountability comes around. Since the class of 2020 has already graduated, we can take a look at those graduates and we see that about 27% of them had earned college credit while a high school student. So we do expect that particular number to go to 27% for the next year's accountability system. So now looking ahead to 2020, to the class of 2021, this would impact us in accountability in the year 2022. We're taking a look at where students are in terms of dual credit now. What we see when we look at this is that our juniors are definitely taking advantage of the opportunities in dual credit, and that maybe we really need to increase the number of opportunities that students have in 12th grade to make sure that they are earning dual credit hours as well. One of the ways to do this is through the UT On-Ramps courses. UT On-Ramps is a somewhat unique program that started a handful of years ago, and a student does not need to be TSI compliant before entering into this course. It is a dual enrollment course through UT. UT trains our teachers in how to teach the course, and then from there, the teachers will check in with UT periodically to submit assessments for the students. During the first semester, typically, is the trial period. If a student is successful during that first semester, then they can enter into the second semester as a UT student earning dual credit hours. Currently, Harlandale High School offers 2 courses, Algebra and Pre-Calculus, and are in the planning stages of adding US History and English 3. McCollum currently has active Physics 1, Physics 2, Chem 1, Algebra, Pre-Calculus, Statistics, US History, and ELA. In many cases, we find that students are enrolled in multiple on-ramps courses. So we have students at McCollum High School and soon to be at Harlandale High School who will be enrolled in 9 to 12 college hours. And then recently, we gave the SAT and the PSAT. These took place at the end of October, SAT on the 27th and PSAT on the 29th. And we thought it was important to share with you all the attendance rates for each of these. You'll notice that for the SAT on the 27th, overall enrollment was at 71%, overall attendance was at 71%. Typically, that's somewhere in the 90s. So we did see some hesitation for students to show up, but the majority of them did show up to take the SAT. And then on the PSAT on the 29th, overall attendance was at 56.1%, again, down from our standard 90%. But the juniors will have a second opportunity for those who did not attend on the 29th. They'll be able to take the test on January the 26th in school. CCMR has been a lot to keep track of. So this particular form is what I'll end with. And this is what Mr. Noverto Gonzalez, the coordinator for CCMR, has been working on. It will turn into an index card, and it will give counselors and administrators sort of a one-shot glance looking at what a student has achieved and what a student can still work on within their CCMR. This particular student, you can see, has in the gray area, ELA met any criteria, yes, did so through both a TSI and an SAT, and met any criteria in math also, yes. So not only is the student ready for college without any remediation classes, but is ready in both sides of it, ELA and math, and is probably currently enrolled in dual credit. Yes. And that is what we've got. Are there any questions?
I do, if I may, Mr. Soto.
Yes, Madam Chair.
Mr. Littlefield, why is there a difference on the on-ramp courses offered from one high school to the other?
Excellent question. And it is because Harlandale High School has a much stronger history in the advanced placement program. Okay. They have been, most of their courses have been pre-AP, which have been feeding in directly into advanced placement courses. Okay. The College Board has changed the criteria of pre-AP. And so I spoke with the administration over at Harlandale High School, and they are very much moving towards strengthening AP as well as increasing on-ramps.
Thank you, sir. That makes sense. And then my second question, if I may, as far as there being a lower attendance than usual on the SAT and the PSAT, am I to assume it has a lot to do with COVID? Being afraid to send the kids to take a test?
Yes.
Okay.
And so what the campuses actually did was on the 27th, the 9th, 10th, and 11th graders were actually to stay home and learn remotely that day so that the campus would only be open to the seniors so that they could come in and take their test. Another reality that the class of 21 and quite possibly the class of 22 is facing is that colleges are changing a lot of their admission requirements and de-emphasizing SAT scores.
Thank you. I heard that. My son told me that, but I wasn't sure if he was just saying it to his convenience or if it was true.
It was true.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Those are the only questions I had.
Thank you,
anybody else, any questions or comments? Nope. Okay. Moving on to agenda item 6, consent items. Is there a motion or is there any discussion?
Madam President?
Yes, Ms. Ortiz. Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to make a motion.
Yes, ma'am.
I move that the board approve items 6A, 6B, 6C, and 6D.
Thank you, Ms. Ortiz. Is there a second on Ms. Ortiz's motion?
I'll second.
Thank you, Ms. Limon. Okay. I'll call for the vote. Mr. Mendoza, yes or no on the motion to approve consent items 6A, B, C, and D? Mr. Mendoza?
Yes.
Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you. Ms. Ortiz, yes or no, ma'am?
Yes.
Thank you. Ms. Limon, yes or no, ma'am?
Yes.
Mr. Mancha, yes or no, sir?
Yes.
Thank you. And myself, yes. So consent items 6A, B, C, and D pass. Now we're going to have agenda item 7, individual items. We're starting with 7A. Consider and take appropriate action to adopt a resolution to authorize an additional compensation of $400 to the previously approved stipend compensation of $600 for all full-time employees, and to combine these amounts to make a one-time stipend payment of $1,000 to all its full-time employees. Is there a motion?
Madam Chair,
Yes, yes, Ms. Limon.
I'd like to make a motion to pass item 7A.
Is there a second on Ms. Limon's motion?
I'll second it, but it's to approve.
To approve, I'm sorry, sir. Thank you, sir. To
Thank
approve.
you, Mr. Mendoza. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. I'm going to call for the vote. Mr. Mancha, yes or no, sir?
Madam President?
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like some discussion.
Okay.
Or
Mr. Rosendez, does Ms. Ortiz need to make a motion for discussion, to open discussion on this?
I didn't quite hear. Did the motion get a second and everything?
Yes, it did.
Motion? Well, you don't necessarily have to make a motion to discuss. Once the motion has been made and there's a second, it's on the table. So it's okay to talk about it.
Okay, thank you, sir. Yes, ma'am. Your questions or concerns, Ms. Ortiz?
Yes, I would just like to say that that I do like the idea of giving $1,000. I think we need to be a little cautious in calling it a retention stipend because we are only giving it to those employees that have been employed prior to November the 8th. Since we don't know what the new year will bring, the next semester will bring, I'm a little concerned that we don't take that $1,000 and divide it into what we originally planned to do, which was to give 2 retention stipends, one at the end of the first semester, one at the end of the second semester. I'm a little bit concerned about that. The other thing is that what I foresee is that we will be asked at the end of the next semester to compensate those employees that were not compensated or not included after November the 8th, that we will be approving another stipend at the end of the year, and I'm calling it a retention stipend. And those are my concerns. I do not disagree with $1,000. What I would like for us to have looked at a little bit more closely is doing $500 for the first semester and $500 for the second semester. I can see the school district at the end of next spring semester being asked to give another stipend at the end of the spring semester. That's the only thing. I'm a little worried about what TEA is going to do, what they're going to be expecting from us. This is going to cost us almost $750,000 for our full-time student. I'm not saying that they don't deserve it. They well deserve it. I'm just saying I just wish we were a little bit more cautious. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Does anybody else have any comments or concerns? Since you opened up for discussion, Ms. Ortiz, I'm going to take advantage and follow you. I certainly think that the teachers deserve everything they get and more. You all deserve a lot more on a regular, normal school year. We certainly are not dismissing the fact that you're doing more than ever expected, and that we're expecting more of not just the students, but our staff. I agree with Ms. Ortiz. I am not saying we should not do this. I'm not saying you all don't deserve it. Please understand that you deserve a lot more than what we are offering to you at this moment. However, I do need to voice my opinion that we don't know what's going to happen in the future. We were supposed to be rid of COVID months and months and months ago. We are still here. It might even be a year later and we will still be dealing with COVID. With that being said, I just want to make sure that we are not reckless in our handling of finances, that we continue to lead by example. And by that, I mean that we are aware, we are concerned, and we are certainly not turning the other cheek on things that may come that we're hoping that they not. I want us to be prepared. I guess bottom line is I want our district to be prepared financially and in every single aspect of the district. But you all are, all of you, well deserving of this stipend. I do not think any less should be given, but I do want every one of us in the community, in administration, to understand that we still need to be very cautious of our finances because we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know what TA is going to reimburse us for past the deadline that they've given us, that they said they're not, that we're going to go back to the same, they're going to require the same had it been a normal year. So I just want us to all be very, very cautious of that, please. I do not want to find ourselves in a position where we have any regrets. And I certainly applaud each and every one of you that has done an excellent job in all aspects of this district, every single department, not just the teachers, not the principal, child nutrition, our bus drivers, our maintenance, our janitorial service, everybody. You all deserve a lot. And I appreciate it. And I'm very grateful and thankful. But I still want to continue to be cautious and try to be as conservative as we can because we don't know what the future holds. And I don't want to be reckless, not reckless with our kids' money at all, but I do think you're very deserving of every single penny that we're able to offer. I just wanted to say that. Any other comments or concerns? Okay, I'm going to move for the vote since we have a motion and there was a second. Mr. Mancha, yes or no?
Big yes.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, sir. Ms. Ortiz, yes or no?
I want to abstain.
Very well. Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Mendoza, yes or no?
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Limon, yes or no?
Yes.
Thank you, ma'am. And myself, yes. So we do have a vote here and it does pass. So individual item 7A passes and is approved. Agenda item 7B. Oh, this is mine. Consider and take appropriate action on the board Lone Star Governance quarterly self-evaluation. I think Ms. Linda is here on standby.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Okay.
ma'am. I'm here from Region 20. Good evening.
Thank you. Good evening. Okay, so I'm going to start. Please redirect me. Please correct me. Do whatever you need to so I don't look too incompetent this evening in front of everybody. So we have our Lone Star governance, we have student outcomes, and it's we have an instrument that we're doing our self-evaluation on this. Vision 1 is the board has adopted student outcome goals. And please redirect me, Miss Linda, if I'm mistaken, but I've been here for a little over a year, and we have been moving along and getting these outcome goals and being productive, not only administration, but the board. We are, I believe, on approaches focus on Vision 1. The board approaches focus if all prior conditions and the following conditions are true. All goals are specific, quantifiable student outcome goals that include a population, a 5-year deadline of a month and a year, a baseline, and annual student group targets. I believe that administration has put those in place. Meets focus. The board meets focus if all prior conditions and the following conditions are true. All board members and the superintendent agree that the student outcome goals will challenge the organization, require adult behavior change, are influenceable by the superintendent, and are the superintendent's first priority for resource allocation. The board relied on a root cause analysis, comprehensive student needs assessment, and/or similar research-based tool to inform the identification of and prioritization of all student outcome goals. I believe we have met that. As an administration, we have met that. Correct me if I'm wrong, Ms. Linda.
Correct. We were at 4 until we did all your HB3 goals. So yes, ma'am, it does appear that you guys are at 12, but you need to get consensus from your board.
Yes. Would I do this on a vote, Ms. Linda?
No, you would just ask.
Comments, any comments?
Yes, ma'am.
Whether or not
anyone that disagrees. Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I'm walking on you.
No, not at all. So does anybody disagree that the board and the superintendent have not met with these meet focus bullet points? No? Okay.
No.
Master's focus. The board masters focus if all prior conditions and the following conditions are true. All board members and the superintendent have committed the vision and student outcome goals to memory, know the current status of each student outcome goal, and agree there is a broad community ownership of the board's vision and student outcome goals through involvement and communication with students, staff, and community members. Now, I will say we've done the first bullet point and the second, but we have not had communication with community members. We've had it through our students and our staff, but not through our community members. Ms. Linda?
Yes, ma'am. You're correct, but you might want to poll your board and just see if they agree with that. And if they've all memorized those goals.
I will be honest with you, I haven't. So I cannot self-evaluate myself on that. I have to be very, very honest. So does everybody else, am I the only one that has not memorized those, I guess is my question? Ms. Ortiz, are we at master's focus or are we still at meets focus?
I'm not quite sure. I wanted to ask Linda, is our communication or our outreach with each board meeting that we have when we allow public hearings and community to speak, does that not count as community outreach?
No, ma'am. because
Okay.
that's the normal board business that all boards do. And so
Okay.
this is beyond that. Yes, ma'am. Good question, Ms. Ortiz.
Ms. Limon?
So my question is to Ms. Linda, what would that be as a board member in a board meeting to communicate with board members if it's not with when community members come up to speak? How is that? How do we do that in a board meeting? I mean, I'm sure that we all do it outside, but
Right.
in a board meeting, how do we
Ms. Linda,
master that?
can I say something? And this is just my thoughts. I originally wanted to see the possibility of having a town hall meeting for Harlandale. You know, we have them when the community is a little concerned about administration, but I certainly don't want that to be the only time that we have them. I didn't expect for COVID to last this long, but it did, which puts a little wrench in what I would have liked to do as a board and as a district, is to hold town hall meetings for maybe some questions and answers as to what our vision is, what we're doing, and get some input from our families and our staff outside of a regular board meeting or a special call meeting. I still want that. Hopefully we can move forward with that. I just think right now with COVID, the gathering of our community is a little difficult to place. You know,
Madam
other
Chair.
we do it for a Zoom, and I'd like to do more of a face-to-face if possible. Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am. Yes, Ms. Lehman.
Ms. Linda, would that be an exempt for, since we're in COVID code right now, as to town hall meetings, or do you suggest like a virtual meeting? I mean.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay, so.
If you want to continue grow in Lone Star governance, it would be a town hall meeting in which the board leads, not the administration. And you lead around Lone Star governance goals. You explain the process, what your goal is. Absolutely.
Okay. Okay, so virtual meeting, so.
Any other questions, Ms. Simon?
No, ma'am, thank you so much. Thank you, Ms. Linda.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Mendoza, do you
Yes.
do you feel we're at meets focus, but not at masters focus?
Well, first and foremost, I want to admit to you that I haven't memorized them either, so I'm with you.
I will
But
by the next meeting, I promise. I will have little flashcards and have my kids test me on it.
there you go. I still feel that, I mean, we feel that we're at meets. I don't think we've mastered yet. But then that's my opinion, you know.
I'm with you as well.
So,
I'm sorry, I
no,
didn't.
I would love to have mastered it, you know,
Yes.
but it's still not there yet.
We're not quite there. We will though, Mr. Mendoza.
Oh, yeah.
We will.
Yeah.
We will. Yes, that's our goal. Mr. Mancha, your feeling, sir?
I don't think we're even at meets yet. I think we're
You don't think so?
borderline meets.
Okay.
My personal opinion. I think there's still some issues. There's still some ironing to do.
Okay.
To get the wrinkles out. And I think the only way we're going to be able to do that is that we're going to have to meet like we did last time, even when we were spread out, but we were able to meet. And that could even, we really need to do a good town hall meeting.
Yes.
And I think that's doable. We would have to limit the amount of people that we would allow in, but I don't think it's something that would be considered out of the ordinary. And I think we do need to have better communication with our staff. I still think that there's still, you know, where we need to not, you know, understand them a little bit more. Like today, I mean, the Martin Luther King thing, I thought that was wonderful, you know, and it's something that they're passionate about. You know, I never thought there was so much passion out there for it. So it was nice to hear from a lot of our staff how passionate they are, but also our community members, how passionate they are about it, and a lot of them are correct. You know, we didn't work with them as good as we should have. So that's why I think there's still a little bit more that we need to work on.
So you're more comfortable that we are still at approaches focus.
Yes.
And we still need to iron out some things on meets focus.
Just not too much, just a little bit.
Some tweaks.
Just some small ironing on that shirt where, you know, you want to take it out that Friday night or Saturday night, but you still got that wrinkle that you can't get out. We just need to work on that.
Okay.
Good point, Mr. Mancha.
No problem. Let's see, give me 1 second. Mr. DeSantis, before I go any further, I need to see if maybe you can redirect me. I believe there was some language that I needed to read on agenda item 7A, and I failed to do so. So my apologies to the Harlandale community and to administration. This is on the stipend, on the vote.
Yeah, no, it's okay. The motion was fine. The agenda is fine. As long as we attach the resolution to the board minutes, then we're fine.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to make sure that I wasn't forgetting to do something that I was supposed to, so.
You can if you want to read the resolution, but if not, it's in the board packet, which is available to the public.
Okay.
And the board minutes and the motion and the discussion clarified exactly what we're going to do. So
Okay.
okay.
Okay, perfect. I just wanted to make sure. I want to make sure. I'm
Good
doing my
question.
job
Good
correctly.
question. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, so we're still at approaches focus. Is everybody in agreement to that? And we just got to wrinkle a few more things out on our vision 1?
Yes.
Yes? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so we're still at approaches focus, but we'll be getting there, folks. I promise we'll be getting there. On vision 2, the board has adopted goal progress measures aligned to each student outcome goal. So approaches focus, that's 4, and it's the board approaches focus if all prior conditions and the following conditions are true. The board has adopted no more than 3 GPMs for each student outcome goal. All GPMs are student outputs, not adult inputs or outputs that include a population, a 5-year deadline of a month and a year, a baseline, and annual student group targets. How do my colleagues feel about that? Have we met all of those conditions?
You adopted your goals last month or the month before, and we had added 5-year deadlines.
We did.
Moving from X to Y by Z. Yes, and did all that work with Ms. Casey.
Yes. So we are at approaches focus, but are we at meets focus? Okay, let's see. The board meets focus if all prior conditions and the following conditions are true. All board members and the superintendent agree that GPMs will challenge the organization, require adult behavior change, are influenceable by the superintendent, and are all predicted of their respective student outcome goals. I believe we have met that.
I believe we have those. Yes.
Yes.
I do too.
Mr. Mendoza, Mr. Mancha, Ms. Ortiz, how do you all feel about that?
Big yes, Ms. Casey did a good job.
Yes. Okay. So
I agree also.
Ms. Ortiz?
You're muted, sweetie.
Oh.
Elaine, there you go.
Okay.
She's muted again.
I know, I think she.
You muted, Miss Elaine. There you go.
Okay. Do you feel we've met all those bullets on meets focus?
Yes.
Okay. Now, I know we are not on master's focus because the bullet on there is all board members and the superintendent agree there is a broad community ownership of the GPMs through involvement and communication with students, staff, and community members. Again, I think we need to have something to engage the community, that the board needs to engage the community before we can get to master's focus. Is that correct, Ms. Linda?
Yes, correct.
Thank you. Vision number 3, the board has adopted constraints. Approaches focus is, the board approaches focus if all prior conditions and the following conditions are true. Each superintendent constraint describes a single operational action or class of actions the superintendent may not use or allow.
And you did adopt those back in 2019. Yes.
Meets focus. So we have approaches focus. We're there. Are we at meets focus? The board meets focus if all prior conditions and the following conditions are true. The board has adopted 1 to 5 board self-constraints. The board, where appropriate, relied on a root cause analysis, comprehensive student needs assessment, and/or similar research-based tool to inform the identification of and prioritization of superintendent constraints. All board members and the superintendent agree that the constraints will challenge the organization to focus on the vision and uphold community values. I believe we've done those. We have done those. So we have met focus, but have we mastered the focus? The board, in collaboration with the superintendent, has adopted 1 or more theories of action to drive overall direction. Second bullet is all board members and the superintendent agree there is broad community ownership of the constraints through involvement and communication with students, staff, and community members. There we go, community members. That's another one we have yet to master, and we are going to be needing some kind of town hall meeting to get, so that we can discuss that. So we are at meets focus on vision 3.
Sure.
Yes, Matt. Yes, sir. Yes. Am I jumping too fast? Or
No. Mr. Soto, remember when we started LSG, we had those community members that would come in and meet. You remember, Miss Casey, that they would meet with y'all? Oh, they met with Miss
Gallegos.
But we had a group. We should have the list of those community members, sir. Maybe that's the ones we need to start with. A lot of the ideas that came out actually came out of that group when we first started LSG. You remember that, Ms. McAnally?
Yes, that was your strategic planning committee. And so that's where we did the root cause analysis, but we've not done the town hall meeting where you share Lone Star governance.
And have them bring in some people that gave them ideas, and maybe we can start with that, since they already have an idea of what the community is going to ask.
Maybe they can, yes, and maybe they can help present to the community. You know, Mr. Mancha, you mentioned that, we may have to limit the people that come, but maybe we don't. Maybe we can have some come in person and some join us by Zoom.
Well, we can do it outdoors.
That's true. Yeah. Okay. So we are definitely at meets focus, but not at master's focus on vision 3, correct? Anybody disagree with that? No? Okay. Sentence, if you don't shake your heads, I think my internet froze, and I'm not sure if it's my internet or you all are just not moving. So shake your heads, please. Okay. Vision 4. Okay, the board has adopted superintendent constraint progress measures, CPMs. Approaches focus. Are we there? The board has adopted no more than 3 CPMs for each superintendent constraint. All CPMs include a 1 to 5 year deadline of a month and a year, a baseline, and annual targets. I believe we have. We have done those. Does anybody disagree?
Well, let me interrupt.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Because when we met on this, I thought that we had all the CPMs, but we only have the constraints.
Oh, we only have the constraints though?
Yes, yes. So I actually think that we're back at number 1, and I think I gave you the correct information.
Okay, no problem, no problem. So we are at preparing focus, and let me read, if you don't mind, what it is so that we all know that's where we're at now, and we've already complied with that. The board has adopted CPMs for each superintendent constraint. The superintendent owned the CPM development process while working collaboratively with the board. The status of each adopted CPM is able to be updated multiple times during each school year. Now, I know we've done that, all of those 3 bullet points. Does anybody disagree with that, or do they have any comments?
No, I agree. I agree with you that we have done those. Yes.
Mr. Mendoza, Mr. Mancha, Ms. Ortiz? Yes? Thumbs up. I saw the thumbs up. Okay.
Yeah.
So we're not at approaches focus because we've only done the constraints. So we'll be getting there. We will be getting there. I promise. We're all going to work hard to do that. Accountability 1, the board invests at least half of its time monitoring the vision. Does not meet focus. The board does not have student outcome goals, GPMs, constraints, CPMs, or annual targets. The board does not track its use of time in board authorized public meetings. The board has not received a monitoring report. Well, I know that we only have had the constraints. We have not had the annual targets. Is that what you're saying, Ms. Linda?
Yes. Yes. And you guys are not you're not keeping the time. Miss
No.
Blanche keeps the time and Miss Mila, but Ms. Ortiz has started doing that. And
Yes,
so, yes, next time
yes,
we'll be able to look back and see how are you spending your time.
yes. Next month, we will have a new report, and that will hopefully get us into preparing to focus. That's for accountability 1.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes,
Yes, ma'am. Yes, of course. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Linda, on keeping the time, so that's in every board meeting that a board member would have to keep time of a board meeting? Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am. And how you're spending your time. Is it focused on student improvement, or is the majority of time on something else?
And we designated or delegated, I guess, this task to Ms. Ortiz because she's our board secretary.
Yes. Okay.
So
Thank
she's
you,
going to do a
Ms.
really
Thank you,
good
Ms.
job.
Lopez.
You're going to do a good job, Ms. Ortiz. Next month, you're going to report on where we took too long and where we didn't spend enough time on. So we are at does not meet focus for accountability 1 because we are not using our time tracker in each board meeting yet.
Yet.
Yes, accountability number 2. The board evaluates but does not interfere with progress toward the vision. Preparing to focus, the board has performed a self-evaluation within the previous 12 months using a research-aligned instrument, performed a superintendent annual evaluation no more than 15 months ago, been provided copies of the superintendent's implementation plans to make progress towards the student outcome goals, and not voted to approve the superintendent's implementation plan unless required by law. Now, I haven't been here. Have I been here more than 15 months? I don't think so. Maybe close to it. So I cannot honestly say that that all of these have been performed. So you'll either, my colleagues are going to have to redirect me on this, or Ms. Linda.
Well, I guess we can go through point by point. Have you done a board evaluation where you go into closed session and you do your self-evaluation with your attorney in the last 12 months?
I believe we haven't. Does anybody contradict what I'm saying? Do they have a better memory than I do? Yeah. I don't think
And-
we have.
I don't remember.
Mhm.
Okay,
don't think we
and
have.
then you haven't evaluated the new superintendent, and you will not do that until January. So I'm thinking that you're back on
That does
the
not meet
zero because it's cover all points,
Yes.
or you can't count
and
the number one.
And what I'm going to do is I'm going to read all those bullet points so we know that we are at least that does not meet focus for the time being, because we will be moving forward. An individual board member does not know if the school system is in low performing status and for how long. Well, we do know that. Any individual board member does not know if any campus is in low performing status and for how long. Is that two? Did I read it twice? Yes,
It's on
I'm
there
sorry.
twice.
I'm sorry. I apologize. I want to make sure y'all were paying attention. Any individual board member agrees that their first loyalty is owed to staff or vendors rather than vision, community values, and improving student outcomes. The board has not voted to approve a self-evaluation within the past 12 months. That in itself, we haven't done. I know I haven't done the 12 months of evaluation. So we are still on accountability number 2. We remain in does not meet focus for the time being, but we will be moving forward.
Yes, ma'am.
Structure. The board operates in a way to allow the superintendent to accomplish the vision. I believe we are, I'm going to do preparing to focus. The superintendent owned the monitoring calendar development. I'm sorry, let me start again. That was a runoff sentence. I apologize. The superintendent owned the monitoring calendar development process while working collaboratively with the board to adopt a monitoring calendar that monitors each student outcome goal at least 4 times a year, monitors no more than 2 student outcome goals per month, monitors each constraint at least once per year, and spans at least 5 years to mirror this length of the student outcome goals. I believe we have done all those bullet points. Does anybody disagree with me? I muted myself also. Okay. My apologies. I apologize for the last few minutes to our community and our staff and my fellow board members. I believe that on preparing to focus on structure, we have already hit all those bullet points. Is there anything different that someone has that I am not?
You know what? I forgot what we're talking.
You want me to say?
Yeah,
Yes, of course. Okay.
My mind is just puzzled right now.
I know, me too. I apologize. So monitors each student outcome. Okay, let me start again. The superintendent owned the monitoring calendar development process while working collaboratively with the board to adopt a monitoring calendar that monitors each student outcome goal at least 4 times a year, monitors no more than 2 student outcome goals per month, monitors each constraint at least once per year, and spans at least 5 years to mirror the length of the student outcome goals.
Yes. I think we have.
I think we have 2.
Yes.
Ms. Ortiz?
She's nodding yes.
Okay, I'm sorry. Mr. Mancha? Do you believe we've met those bullet points, or yes? Mr. Mendoza?
You get a thumbs up.
Okay, perfect. Approaches focus. Are we there yet? All consent eligible items were placed on the consent agenda, and more than 3/4 of the items were voted on using a consent agenda. The board limits its adoption of local policies regarding school board operations to board work. Well, we've done the first bullet point. I know that.
Yeah.
Yes. Second bullet point.
Yeah, mute Linda. Linda's muted.
I can't
There you go.
Okay. We hear you, Miss Linda.
Do I sound funny though? I'm on my phone now.
No, you sound good. You sound good.
Okay.
So
All
we
right,
have we have done the first bullet point. All consent eligible items were placed on the consent agenda, and more than 3/4 of the items were voted on using a consent agenda. And the second bullet is the board limits its adoption of local policies regarding school board operations to board work.
And that's where we're doing that policy review.
Yes,
And it's
board
not been
operations.
completed. So I think we have to stay at 1.
Okay, no problem. We still need to approve the board policy procedures on that.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, advocacy. The board promotes this vision. Preparing to focus. The board has a two-way communication system in place where the board members at least once per year listen for and discuss the vision and values of their students and listen for and discuss the vision and values of their staff and community members. I know we've done the first bullet point. Second bullet point, I know we've done it for the staff. As far as community members, would that be us holding a town hall meeting?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So then on advocacy, we are still going to stay at does not meet focus because we have
Yes,
that second bullet point that we have not yet mastered.
Correct.
Any comments or questions? No? Can I move on? Unity. The board collaboratively and with the superintendent to lead towards the vision. Let me see. Are we at preparing to focus? The board affirms that at least once every other year, it has reviewed all policies governing board operating procedures, affirms that all members have signed the ethics and conflict of interest statements in the past 12 months, agrees that if the board has committees, their role is to advise the board, not to advise the staff, agrees that a board officer's role is to advise the board, not to advise the staff, and maintained a quorum throughout all regularly scheduled board meetings over the previous 3 months. The only bullet that I don't know is the first one. I mean, affirms at least once every other year it has reviewed all policies governing board operating procedures. Is Harlandale doing that every other year? Ms. Linda, you've been here longer than I.
That's your BOP, and you guys decided to do it annually.
Okay. So then we are at preparing to focus. Are we at approaches focus? The board agrees that every member is responsible for the outcomes of all students, not just students in their region of the school system. Maintained an average attendance of 70% or higher throughout all regularly scheduled board meetings over the previous 3 months, and has set the expectation that information provided to one board member is provided to all board members. I can honestly say we have done that.
Yeah.
We have done that, okay? So we are at approaches focus, but are we at meets focus? The board maintained an average attendance of 80% or higher throughout all regularly scheduled board meetings over the previous 3 months, agrees that all members have adhered to all policies governing board operating procedures, agrees that every member has completed all statutorily required training, and rather than the superintendent led the completion of Lone Star governance task. I don't know, I can't vouch if everybody has completed all the training required. But I know we've done the first bullet point, the second, and the fourth. But have we done the third one? I don't know.
And I would probably question whether you've done the fourth one where you guys have led in all the Lone Star governance tasks.
Okay.
Because you just now started doing your time.
Yes.
So
okay.
Probably we're back at 3 unless you guys agree with me.
Okay, then we're at approaches focus, and we will be moving forward to a meets focus. That's our other goal. We've got to get it done. And I think that's it. Is that it, Ms. Linda?
Yes, ma'am. Other than taking action to accept the report,
yes.
And then you guys will sign it.
Okay. Give me 1 second. Is there a motion for agenda item 7B? Consider and take appropriate action on the board Lone Star governance quarterly self-evaluation. Is there a motion?
Madam President?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, Ms. Ortiz.
I'd like to make a motion.
Okay.
I move that the board approve Lone Star Governance quarterly self-evaluation.
Thank you, ma'am. Is there a second on Ms. Ortiz's motion?
A second.
Thank you, Ms. Limon. I will take the vote now. Mr. Mendoza, yes or no?
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Ortiz, yes or no?
Yes.
Thank you, ma'am. Ms. Limon, yes or no?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Mancha, yes or no, sir? And myself, yes. So agenda item 7B has passed and is approved. Agenda item 8, convene in closed session as authorized by the Texas Government Code, Chapter 551, Sections 551.071 through 551.084. This is for agenda item 8A. The board will discuss the recommended regular personnel report, TGC 551.074, and 8B, consultation with attorney regarding legal issues pertaining to the superintendent evaluation instrument, TGC 551.071. Is there a motion to convene in closed session?
Madam President,
Yes, Ms. Ortiz.
I move that the board convene in closed session to address items 8A and 8B.
Okay, I will second your motion, Ms. Ortiz. I will take the vote. Ms. Limon, yes or no to convene in closed session for items
Yes.
8A and 8B?
Yes.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Mendoza?
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Mancha? Thank you, sir. Ms. Ortiz?
Yes.
Thank you, ma'am. And myself, yes. So it is now 8:18 and we will convene in closed session.
Norma,
Yes, sir.
can we get about 5 minutes?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Okay.
I need the 5 minutes. Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, sir. It is now 9:17. We are back in open session. I believe we're all back. Agenda item 9, convene an open session and take appropriate action on items discussed in closed session. Agenda item 8A, there was no recommendations made, there was no discussion, therefore no action needs to be taken at this time. Agenda item 8B, consultation with attorney regarding legal issues pertaining to the superintendent evaluation instrument. Is there a motion? I will make a motion. I move to approve the superintendent evaluation instrument. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Mendoza. I will take the vote. Ms. Limon, yes or no?
Yes.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Mancha, yes or no, sir?
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Ortiz, yes or no?
Yes.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Mendoza, yes or no, sir?
Yes.
And myself, yes. So we are approving agenda item 8B, superintendent evaluation instrument. Agenda item 10, adjourn meeting. Is there a motion?
Madam President, before we adjourn, I'd like to wish both of our volleyball teams who are in playoffs this week. I'd like to wish both of them good luck, and I hope they win. I hope we're able to see them in the second round. I also want to see all of our football players stay healthy, all of our volleyball players stay healthy, and wish all of them well. Thank you. And I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Thank you. Yes, you all make us very, very, very proud. Is there a second motion to adjourn the meeting? Ms. Limon, you're seconding the motion. I will take a vote. Mr. Mendoza, yes or no to adjourn the meeting?
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Ortiz, yes or no, ma'am?
Yes.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Mancha, yes or no to adjourn meeting, sir?
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Limon?
Yes.
Thank you. And myself, yes. We are adjourning the meeting, tonight's meeting. It is 9:19. Everybody be safe, stay healthy, and we will see you soon. Thank you.
Bye, guys. Bye-bye.